Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here. Welcome back to the Mixing in a Home Music Studio course. In this video, we're going to talk about effects tracks. So firstly, if you're new to my channel and you like what you see, click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future video. So effects tracks. All right, in the previous video, we talked about sends, and I kept talking about how we use sends to send a copy or a duplication of the audio to potentially an effects track. So what is an effects track? It is a track specifically designed to put effects on, okay? Technically, it does not have an audio file attached to it, right? You don't import an audio file on it. It is a basically empty track that is just there to put effects on or whatever processing you want. I mean, it can still be EQs, compressors, whatever else, right? When we talk about effects, it could be anything. It could be delays, reverbs, all that sort of stuff. And unless we send some audio to it, there is no audio on that track, right? So we would do nothing without having something sent to it. So the advantage of it is that instead of, say, let's say we want to use a particular reverb and we want to use that reverb on all of our tracks. Instead of loading that reverb plugin in an insert of every track, we can load it on an effects track. And then what we can do is send our audio from each of those tracks to this one reverb track. So then we've got one plugin that we need to worry about. We've got one plugin that the PC or computer is having to process, right? So if you load a reverb plugin on every one of your tracks as an insert, it's going to be a very big demand on your PC because they're all individual pieces of software. Using an effects track, you're talking about one plugin, and it's just getting a lot of audio go through it and it's processing it. It's a great way to gel stuff together as well. So if you want to do some compression or that sort of stuff. So they're really good for doing those sort of things, right? And there might be a term you call parallel processing, right? An effects track is what we use to do parallel processing most of the time because we are processing something in parallel. We've got our clean, dry audio here on the track, and then we've got our processed, wet audio on the effects track. And then they will come together in, say, the bus or the mix bus or wherever to sort of be joined together in parallel, run side by side, and they'll sound together because we mix them together. So with an effects track, not only do we have the advantage of being able to independently apply plugins, to multiple tracks. It doesn't have to be all your tracks. You can pick and choose what you get sent to it. But then you can also adjust the panning of that effects. You can adjust the fader of that effects track, right? So you can have all the sounds going to it, get a great sound like the sound of that effect, and then you can adjust it as you go through your mix, moving it up and down with the fader, blend it in. You can even mute it in certain parts, right? So you can have it muted in certain sections so that it's not playing. Chorus comes in, maybe you unmute, that sort of stuff. So you have a lot of power when it comes to effects tracks that maybe is a little bit harder to do when you're loading things on the tracks directly. All right, let's get into Cubase now and have a bit of a look at how we use an effects track and what it looks like and how to set one up.
So in Cubase, basically we just go to the add button here and we go add effects track. Now we can automatically start loading effects, or we cannot, and we can just name it whatever we like and output it to somewhere else, and then it will pop up an effects track here, and they like to group it in this little folder called effects channels. I don't generally work this way, I don't like that, so I'll generally drag it into some other location, but you're quite welcome to leave it, all your effects, in an effects channel folder if that's what you prefer. And then the track itself operates fairly similarly to an audio track, except you just don't put any audio on it. You can see here there's just nothing to apply there. There's a volume control on there, and that's pretty much it. So if we go across to this window here, you can see our settings. We've got inserts, we've got everything pretty much the same as we have for any other track, but you just don't put audio on it. Now generally you make these stereo, but you can make them mono if you wish, and there's nothing wrong with that. So as an example here, with some of my pre-made effects tracks here, I've got, say, a guitar dot stereo delay and a guitar mono. So you'll see here, based on this is a stereo effects channel and this is a mono effects channel. So anything I send to this is going to still play in mono, which can be handy if you want to have a mono delay or something like that, and you want to save on some resources by not having a stereo track. And to load your actual effects here, you just basically apply it into your insert on this effects channel. As many effects as you like, whatever you want. So if we look here, over here, I've got a guitar plate, and you'll see that I have a UAD plate reverb on here. Then I've also got a console emulator, and I've got an EQ and compressor. So you can put whatever you like on this, and it's all about building the effects sound that you want. And then you route this channel to wherever you like. So in my instance here, because I'm building this as a guitar effects, I will send it to the guitar bus. But you could send it straight out to your main output. You could have a bus for all of your effects, so it could be an effects bus, or however you want to structure your template. This is just how I do it. So once you've built your effects chain onto this effects channel, you need to obviously get something to it, and that's where your sends come in. Generally, when we are building our effects on an effects channel, 99% of the time, set all of our plugins on here, our effects, to fully wet. And the reason we do that is because we're going to control how much of the effects we hear with the volume we set the send to. Majority of the time, the reason you would not use fully wet and you would start to do this mixing of dry and wet would be as if you had that reverb directly on the track, the audio track. But when we put it on an effects channel, we set it to fully wet. Okay, so that, just keep that in mind. So we set that to fully wet. We do that on all of those. They all will be fully wet.
So there you go, that is effects tracks. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Let me know, are you using them? How do you use them in your software? Does your software support them? Let me know. If you have any questions about the process, or you didn't understand it quite clearly, or I didn't explain it properly, please feel free to put them questions in the comments. I read all the comments and I answer every comment that I possibly can as quickly as I can. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.